Why, good morning. How are you? It's 32 degrees right now in western Iowa. Insanely warm for this time of year. It's January 16th, my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Amber, on a Friday Eve, 5:49 in the morning. All right, winter is coming, so if you're a winter lover, it's going to be tested. And there's going to be snow and ice somewhere in the south into the northeast. But exactly where, we don't know, but it looks like the cold air is coming. Here's where we're starting with the snow depth across the country this morning. Still quite a bit in the Midwest, all the way into the Ohio Valley. Of course, the northern Rockies and the northern plains and the Northeast, especially off the Great Lakes. And there's your smiley face in Idaho as the Treasure Valley is staying snow-free, but certainly the mountains around are packed with snow. So what will it look like in 11 days? Well, here's the GFS answer. So a little further north than yesterday, not much for North Texas on this solution. It's more Oklahoma into Arkansas, certainly Tennessee, and then as you get into the Virginias up through, say, New Jersey, Connecticut, maybe Massachusetts. And of course, the Great Lakes snow is going to be cranking. We'll show you. It's really going to be cranking, not just today, like for the next week or two. But this is the GFS answer, and look at the European, quite a bit different. This is why when we're trying to forecast snow in places that don't normally get it, and we're still a week away or more, the uncertainty is certainly there. So will there be snow in the south? Probably, and ice, but where exactly and how much, we really don't know yet, because the European has snow for Houston into New Orleans, right? And then a big dump for a narrow bound Arkansas to north of Memphis into Kentucky. And so quite a bit of a different solution. Same with the ice. Here's your forecast ice between now and the 22nd through next weekend, the 26th. So a lot of ice on this for the mid-Atlantic all the way up into Maine. But when you look at the Euro, it's quite a bit less and in different places. This has ice down in South Texas. So how it's going to work out exactly, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I would say confidence is high that there will be snow in the South, Mid-South, likely somewhere, but where and how much, we still don't know. The cold air is coming, and that's that's a certainty. And this is, again, the map we've been showing the last few days. This is the lows on January 21st, and we're still on target for, below freezing from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, and Portland, Maine, like single digits. But, temperatures starting below zero on the 21st, all the way from the upper Midwest into the Midwest, and, heading into parts of Michigan, single digits going all the way from, Pennsylvania, parts of the Northeast, all the way down through Iowa and into Nebraska, and well below zero for the northern plains. And those 20s get all the way down into Texas, into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, even the panhandle of Florida. But the high temperatures on the 21st, much colder than many people are used to, but maybe not too bad. Highs in the low teens or single digits here in Iowa, but you get down into the south, you were talking 40s mostly. All right, let's start with today now. I guess we've already started, but let's get into the forecast and show our work, right? So the hazards for today, a little bit of snow up there in the northern Rockies, mainly Wyoming into Montana, some wind issues too. Our red flag warnings have largely gone away for Southern California. That is good. Just looks like one county left. And then you get into the Great Lakes. That's where the action is going to be today, with some good snows off of Lake Erie for Ohio into Pennsylvania, even into New York. But the winter weather advisories extend down into West Virginia with some winter storm warnings there too. And if you like to watch snow and chat with some cool people, storm chasers in the spring, of course, are chasing tornadoes, but in the winter, a lot of them chase snow. One of my favorites is Tornado Pagey, and she will be going live this morning about 11 o'clock Eastern. And I do have a link in the description if you'd like to tune in and join us. All right, temperatures out there right now, very warm, unbelievable. It's freezing right now in western Iowa. That should be our normal high. That's what we're starting out with. So those warm temperatures really moving up into the northern plains and into, into the Great Lakes even. But the eastern Great Lakes hanging on to the cold, and so is New England. And of course, the Rockies are on the chilly side. Surface for today, well, there's your Great Lakes snow and a little bit of snow up there in the northern Rockies. Now you see that warm front starting north of Lake Superior and extending down into Indiana. That warmer air is going to, it already pushed through the plains. We had a southerly wind yesterday, just warmed us up. We started in the single digits. We were in the mid-20s by noon. So anyway, that warm air is going to be moving continually to the east, but a cold day today for the east and the Great Lakes. A little bit of thunderstorms or showers down there in Florida. As we get into tomorrow's surface, you see the warmer air now for the Great Lakes, rain and snow, with maybe even some freezing rain, Ohio, down into West Virginia, North Carolina. But also tomorrow, here comes the cold front through the plains. And so these are where the fronts should be at 7 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time, moving through Nebraska into Minnesota with some light snow there in the Rockies. Now further south in the east, or I should say Midwest down to the south, showers of rain and maybe even thunderstorms down there in the south. And those are your 48-hour precipitation. So it's going to rain down there probably in Louisiana next couple of days. The rest of this on here pretty much is snow. So you see a little bit of snow up there in the northern Rockies into the northern plains. And then the Great Lakes, that's going to be the big winner for the next 2 days coming off of Lake Erie. So Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, those snow totals off of Lake Erie, 8, 10, maybe even isolated 12 inches. And Lake Ontario up there in northern New York could see a good 10 to 12 inches in some places, and a little bit more for West Virginia. And as we get into Saturday, our cold air is all the way through most of Texas, moving into the south. Ahead of the front, we see showers and thunderstorms in the southeast and rain and snow, into the Ohio Valley, into New England with some icing conditions perhaps for some. And then there you see your snow through the Rockies into parts of the plains, really the western part of the plains, as that cold air sinks south. So let's take a look at this. Is the GFS model, so keep that in mind. The GFS and European have different solutions further out in time, but let's take a look at see what the GFS has this morning. Lake effect snow already going on the lakes, and as we go through the day, you can see a lot of lake enhancement here on the eastern Great Lakes by this afternoon and evening. And then we're watching our low up here in Canada as it moves eastward. It's going to open the door for that Siberian Express, Arctic air straight from the Arctic Circle heading south. And that's going to be, of course, our big change. Now, the Weather Service is saying we could see some snow squalls as that cold front moves through the plains here just on the eastern slopes of the Rockies. So as that cold front moves through, that colder air and the upslope wind combine to squeeze out what little moisture there is. So the snow may not be super heavy in accumulations, but it might come down fast enough to reduce visibilities. So there's that issue. As we get into Saturday early morning, we see our front now moving south and east. Could see some snow along that on the northern edges of it, and some pretty good thunderstorms for the southeast as we go through the weekend. And those exits stage east coast, and then the cold front moving down through into Texas. This is midnight, not quite midnight. This is midnight Saturday night and getting into early Sunday morning. Saw a little bit of light snow possible northeastern New Mexico into parts of the panhandle of Texas, but mostly it's just cold as we get into Sunday. And then as we continue into Sunday afternoon, evening, could see a low here develop along the mid-Atlantic, and that could bring some light snows, from Virginia into Maryland, Delaware, even into New Jersey, and spreading up into the northeast as that low lifts northward. Not a nor'easter or anything like that, but some snows for New England as that cold air gets further entrenched This is a Monday morning, 6 a.m., Inauguration Day, MLK Day, and that cold air is in place for most of the country as we go. So it's going to be a cold inauguration day, too. Those winds really whipping off the lakes as we get into Monday, the 21st. This is that cold air I showed you with those lows and highs. Not a lot of precipitation, but man, look at those snow jets off of the lakes. When that Arctic air hits those still unfrozen lakes, it's just going to be dumping a lot of snow off of all of the Great Lakes. And you see the ocean effect snow out here too. So if you're boating out in the Atlantic, some snow out here from just the relatively cold, the cold air going into the relatively warm waters, causing that snow. As we get into the 21st, Tuesday, then we're going to watch in Texas as looks like we're forming a system down here. Now, again, the GFS is a little warmer than the European, so it's starting to show rain for Texas and just snow on the northern edge right along the Red River, mostly on the Oklahoma side. So showers and thunderstorms are now what the GFS is saying. This is why we keep checking the runs and run consistency and less certainty as we get further out in time. So the models are not agreeing, even with themselves, over time. So a lot of rain in the southeast, but a little bit of ice forming and snow further north. And the models have been showing even parts of Iowa getting in onto it as we get into Thursday. And then as that progresses, look at how much rain in the southeast. But it does turn to snow, according to GFS, for parts of Arkansas getting into Tennessee and moving into the Midwest. And then Ohio Valley, there's your ice. Heavy snow for Memphis here. Heavy rain for the southeast. Again, this is not going to come true exactly. Just to give you an idea of what the GFS is saying this morning. And the previous run had this low lifting, northeastward. This is more of an eastward trajectory, so less snow for New England, but certainly could be heavy snow right down to the coast at this time on this solution. But again, we're a long ways out. I mean, this is getting us to Saturday the 25th. Today's the 16th. Carry the 1. That's 9 days away. So, of course, things are going to change as we get closer. And of course, we're going to keep you posted as we go. Here are, the certainty is the cold air. So your temperatures on the 6 to 10 day outlook, the 21st through the 25th, cold most of the country except for a pocket there, California, Nevada. 8 to 14 moderates a little bit. This gets us into the end of the month almost and to the 29th. And so moderating a little bit, but still cold, below average. Precipitation-wise, wow, look at all that dry air west and through the center of the country, but above average, pretty good bet for the southeast to the mid-Atlantic and the northern plains. 8 to 14 prospects get a little bit better up into parts of the Midwest and the plains, but still that circle of dryness around parts of the Midwest into the Great Lakes and certainly for California into the Southwest. So that's our quick look at what might happen with a southern snowstorm and a couple shots of cold air coming too. And it's going to get cold, colder than it's been for a while. So we'll keep you posted as we go because things are bound to change. I just want you to be aware of what the models are saying, and we'll do it again tomorrow. So thanks again for tuning in. The Weather Mike. Have a great day.